Hello, everyone. We will be starting in 6 minutes, okay? 4:30 sharp. Hey, Reza. Hey, good to see you. Just about to start. 2 minutes away. Sayed. Hey, how are you? Awesome. Very good, Sayed. Very good. Looking forward to a long weekend. Jan, good to see you.
Hey, sir.
Hey. True. Two. A two or true? Two. Isn't it two trend? Two trend? Am I right? Am I right or am I right?
Two.
Two. Okay, two.
Yeah,
Okay,
right,
awesome.
number two.
Okay, got it. That easy. That easy. Two. Okay. I'll answer, Syed, I'll answer about the videos in a second. Let me just find something here that I'm looking for. And we're gonna get started. Perfect, I found it. Okay, so hello, everyone. Hello, I hope that everybody is doing fine. We are in our week number 4. I can only imagine how you guys must be busy at this at this point. And I hope that you are doing fine. I hope that you are looking forward to a long weekend, that you can relax a little bit from tomorrow until Monday, and you can regain some of your energies that have been dedicated to doing assignments and quizzes and things like that. So today I'll remind you of a few things that are under work. Okay. I also want to mention that the assignment 1, is under the process of grading. So I'm going through the grading process. It's going well. It's going well, but a few problems, of course. I mean, some things are easier for one person, not that easy for the next person, but that's fine. That's fine. So we are here to learn. Okay. Keep in mind that assignments and tests and all of that, it's nothing more, nothing less than a tool for you to learn, to help you to learn. Okay. That's really the goal here. Let me. Okay. So what are we going to do today? What are we going to do? So today, actually, let me just step back here. I see a few questions here in the chat. Let me go for the first one. Syed, where can I find the video of our meetings? Okay, so our meetings can be found here. So let me go there. If you go to eCentennial, and if you go to content, and then videos, what is the number of our section in the chat? Can anyone tell me the number of our section?
Section 2.
Section 2, okay? So scroll down under videos and go to section 2. Here you can see a playlist, and then you can click the top icon, top right-hand corner, and it's going to show you week 1, week 2, week 3, any videos that were related to recordings for this meeting. You're going to find them there. Tomorrow morning, you're going to see week 4 there. Syed, does it make sense? Okay, awesome. Next question here, Alireza, can you change office hours to Monday? We have client-side class in that time. Alireza, I cannot, to be, honest with you, I can't. However, if you need to, if you have any needs to ask me a question or to do something, that will require me to be there live with you, let me know and we can book some time. Okay, let me know and we can book one off. But again, if it's something that we can deal via email, we will. And if it's something that will really require a conversation, again, we can book a time that is convenient for both of us and we can meet, okay? Okay, so let's see here. Actually, before we get things moving, I'd like to get a general sense of how you did with assignment 1. How do you feel about assignment 1? Was it hard? Was it easy? And by the way, you don't need to answer in the chat. You can answer on Padlet. There's a note actually there on Padlet. I will address that in a second. So Alirez, it was hard. Steven, it was all right. Okay, different opinions there.
It was good.
Okay, Jen, thank for that. So again, some people find that it's okay. Some people found that it was hard. That's fine. That's a balance that exists, And the purpose is to help you to learn. Okay, so again, if you want to provide feedback here on Padlet that you don't want me to know that you are the one providing, again, you can provide there, and I won't know who you are. So again, you can go open up. So it was hard, and I could not. I'll be checking. So again, you could not submit yours. Okay, so one thing that I do quite a lot is that I help students when they are stuck. Many of you send me emails asking questions, asking, is this the right direction? What is this? Can I get more details about this or about that? Again, use me as a resource. I'm here to assist you. Just because it's an assignment, it doesn't mean that I won't answer questions about it. So again, use me as a resource, okay? And reach out when you are stuck. I'll help you. I'll give a push. I'm not going to give you the answer, of course, because it's no, it misses the point of having a practice. But I'll give you guidance. I will point you in the right direction. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay, it was all right. Your explanation made it easy. Okay, so again, next time, whoever wrote this, you could not submit yours. If you are stuck like that, reach out and tell me that. But again, whenever you reach out, don't reach out with something like, Professor, I don't understand anything. It doesn't help me to help you. You can say, Professor, what is that increase by? I'm a bit confused about the math on increase by or decrease by. Can you help me to understand the math here? I can. That's a specific question. Professor, I'm not sure about the constructor. What is it that is equals to 0 and equals to 1? What is that about? Again, that kind of specific question, I can help you. Okay. So again, use me as a resource. Okay, because of that, and because again, we have people that found it was okay, people found a little bit hard. What I decided to do is I decided to start today with a walkthrough assignment 1. So we're gonna do together assignment 1 here. I will demonstrate, and hopefully for the ones that are confused, that's gonna clarify. And for the ones that did well, it will reinforce whatever you have submitted there. So I'll be walking through that code, and I hope that it will become a useful demonstration and exercise. Okay. Oh, by the way, again, I don't know if it was from this section or some other section, but someone put here, I'm confused about listing methods. So I'm not exactly sure of what does this mean. Again, if it was anyone here in our meeting, if you want to further explain that, because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay. Again, feel free. You can post another note here with more details about your question there. Okay. With that in mind, let's move forward here. So let's have a look at our assignments there. So here we have, by the way, assignment should be all graded by Tuesday, Wednesday. It should be graded. Okay, it should be finished. I have a few hundred assignments to go through. So by Tuesday, Wednesday, you're gonna all have your grades back. Okay. So what are we gonna do here? We need to put together a project that has a class called rational. Okay. One thing that I want to mention is that when you see a diagram like this, it's been very specific. It asks to create a property called denominator, numerator, a constructor with those parameters, increase by, decrease by. So don't try to be creative and rename those things. Don't do that. This is like a document that you follow along. Okay, so I see people change the name of increase by to addition, subtraction, or instead of other, they give another name like R, whatever it is. Follow the detailed structure that is here. Okay, so follow as closely as possible, because when you see a UML diagram, it's like a blueprint, and you need to execute according to what is specified there. Okay, so again, you should try to be very close to that. Okay, so let's do this. I have okay, so Omar, sorry. Professor, are you looking for specific answers, or I can do the assignment in my way, but I had the right output? Okay, so that's a good point. I'm gonna just recap. Are you looking for a specific answer, or can I do the assignment in my way, but I had the right output? Okay, so it's a combination. Okay, so what I mean is that I'll give you an example. Increase by and decrease by, those are methods that will increase and decrease from a rational number. There are different ways that you could do the math there. So if you use different strategies to get to the same result, that's fine, as long as we're getting to the correct methods. Now, if you get to the results, but your math, not the math necessarily, but if you output the correct results, but you didn't follow what this is asking, I'll give an example. Here's an example. Increase by, this method was not supposed to output to the console. It's just to calculate the increase. This method was supposed to calculate the decrease. Some people wrote inside of those methods the console.write there. So that was not what was asked, okay? So again, there's a balance, there is a fine balance between just the output right, or, sorry, not or, and the outputs and how you put it together. So it's a combination of both. Is the output correct? Which means, is the math correct? Yes or no? Yes, great. Kudos to you. Is the execution correct as well? Now, the execution will follow the guidelines that were specified here. Okay? Look, for instance, increase by. This method does not output anything. So there's no writing to console here. There is no return type. Okay? If you put a return type, or if you put a write console inside of it, I'll be deducting some points there, because again, it's a combination of the correct result, which means the math is correct, and the correct approach that you took according to the description here. Omar, does that make sense? Okay, awesome. So let's move forward here. Hassan, thank you.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah, sure, John.
Just like in increase by, it was a public void, and I faced some errors in getting void. So I used public rational. So are they going to be deducted, or because I got the same output?
Okay, so that's a good example of a little deduction that will happen there, because again, the diagram is very clear. It should be void. Now, if you got an error, we can, let's see what the error is about. Maybe when we get to that point there, buzz me and tell me, okay, this is how I wrote my method, and I can have a look why your methods did not work with void, because there should be no problem using voids. Okay, so yes, it's an example of, you may have gotten the correct outputs, but your execution was a little bit off. But again, a little bit. It doesn't mean that, oh, you're going to be deducted half of your mark. No, not really. But again, there might be a little penalty there, just to say, hey, this is asking for voids, and we have used void. Okay, so it's a mix. The output is correct, and the execution is correct as well. Okay, but great point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's execute our project here. So I have a fresh Visual Studio in front of me. I'm gonna go and create a new project. If you have a look, this project here, there was no particular name that was required. So you could have given any name like assignment 1, or in my case here, I'm gonna call it rational app. Okay, because it's dealing with a rational class. And again, I'm just gonna call it rational app. Select the console application, click next, and here we have rational app. Okay, I'm gonna click create. Okay, so the class rational. Okay, so here we have our program class, our main method. Where are we going to create the rational class? Well, you could create the rational class right here, like some of you did. Just put class rational. So this is okay, this is correct. However, one of my roles here is to guide you towards doing things in the best possible way, in the way that the industry out there is expecting you to do. Okay, so I would recommend that we put classes inside a separate file. Each class that we have, we put in a different file. So again, it would have not been an error if you put it inside, but I'm going to choose to create a separate file to put our rational class there. Okay, so I'm going to delete it from here, and I'm going to click on the project rational app. I'm going to right click there, and I'm going to go to add new item. From new item, I can select class, and then I can say, this is rational. Okay, it's going to create a file called rational.cs, and inside that file, it's going to have a class called rational as well. So I'm going to click add, and there we have. The file is called rational.cs. The class is called rational as well. Okay, so that will be the most preferable way. But again, if you put it inside program class, sorry, inside of the program file, program.cs, that will be fine. Okay, so let's have a look there. So we have a denominator and a numerator properties. Plus indicates what? What are they?
Public.
They are public properties, okay? So, and we also realize here that the set is supposed to be private. So let's define that. Let's start with the numerator. So public int denominator. Then we're going to have a get, which is public. And we're going to have a private set. Okay. We're going to repeat the same process for the numerator. We have a public get and a private set. Private set means that they can only be set inside the class, not outside. Okay. Okay, doc. So we did that. We did the number. Oh, and by the, also, I saw this quite a lot, quite frequently. The denominator and numerator, they are auto-implemented properties, which means that they are not using a get from a private field, set from a private to a private field. They are not using that. So as you can see here, they are auto-implemented. Okay. The other way of not doing an auto-implemented is doing this. We're going to have a denominator, but then we're going to have a private int denominator. Then, again, this is an example of auto-implemented. For it not to be auto-implemented, we have to write to denominator, read from denominator. So we would have to do something like this. Get, return, denominator, set, denominator equals to value. Okay. So think that I'm missing here one parenthesis. Yes, one curly braces. Okay, so this is, and here I'm missing the comma, sorry, the semicolon. So this is an example of auto-implemented, and this is the other way to do it, which is not using auto-implementation to be able to read and write to a private field. But again, this was not the way that it was asked in the exercise, in the assignment. So some people that did like this, I took a few little points from there because it was very clear that this was supposed to be an auto implemented property. Okay, so I'm gonna just remove this and keep it like the original one. Okay, so here we have so far just two properties, but now we need to expand that. So let's go to our constructor and let's have a look at the definition of the constructor here. Look, constructor, public rational, and then we have two arguments. So I'm going to copy this and use this as our method signature. I'm going to do that. And here we have. Okay, so we have two arguments, and those arguments, if you read the description, this is the public constructor. It takes two parameters, two arguments, integers representing the numerator, default is 0, and the denominator, default is 1. The method assigns the two arguments to the appropriate fields there. So we have appropriate properties here. So I'm going to say denominator the denominator here will be equal to denominator, and the numerator will be equals to numerator. So what I'm doing here is I'm receiving the arguments and I'm passing them along to the appropriate property. This is the constructor. Okay. I'll be always checking Padlet to see if there are any questions there. Okay, all seems okay. Okay, so here's what we have. Now, what does it mean to say numerator equals to 0, denominator equals to 1? Is that they will always be 0, they will always be 1? What is that? What is this about?
It's optional.
It's optional.
So this makes the arguments optional, and they are the default value for those arguments. So if you don't send a value to that argument, the argument assumes the value of the default that was set to it. Okay, so again, it's a default value. It turns the argument as optional. You don't have to pass. So in a way, because we have both arguments as optional, we can create a rational with no arguments, with one argument, and with two arguments. Okay, 0, 1, and 2 arguments. And that's what we're going to be doing when we try to use this class. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we have toString. Remember that we have used toString in our pet class. Okay, very similar to what you have done in the pet class. We're going to implement here. We're going to perform an override in the toString method that comes from the parent object. Okay, so let's see here. Alex, will marks be taken off if we did not use multiple files? I just used one because the outline didn't say. As I mentioned, Alex, no. If you kept this class inside of program, that's fine. Nothing will happen there. Okay, it's fine. Technically speaking, it's fine. The assignment did not ask to be separate files. I'm just telling you that in terms of best practices, you should put classes in a separate file. But again, if you did not, that's okay. Okay. I see a question being formulated here on Padlet. Let me just see if it's done. Okay. Will we lose marks if we use the this keyword example, this numerator? No, you will not. That's okay. You can use the this keyword. Actually, if you go look back here, if I go to the constructor, I could have said this dot denominator and this dot numerator. The this keyword, what it does is it provides a reference to the current object that is instantiated for this class. Remember, we have classes and we have objects. Classes are like the blueprints, and objects are like an example of that blueprint. I'll give another example that came up the other day. Let's see if this makes more sense. Has anyone ever built an IKEA furniture? Any IKEA furniture builders out there? I love IKEA furniture because it takes my mind out of stuff I love. It's like Lego for me. It's like Lego for adults, to be honest. So anyone has ever built an IKEA furniture or something like that? That you have instructions and then you have to put it together, assemble it together? Syed, can you please repeat that once again? I'm not sure what you mean. What do you want me to repeat? What is that? Is that the IKEA example? Just wondering, because yes, I can repeat, but I just need to know what to repeat. Okay. So remember, I did this. Yeah. So I'm gonna go back there, Syed. So remember that a class is the blueprint, is like the instructions of an IKEA furniture. And then the actual furniture is the object. So the class is the plan, the object is the concretization, is the realization of that plan, okay? Why am I saying that? Because this keyword, it just makes a reference to the current object that is instantiated within that class. Again, if that's too much, don't worry, because this keyword is actually optional here. Because we see it's grayed out, so it's optional here. But again, it's a reference to the current object. So the denominator here is the denominator of the current object. If I instantiated a rational with numerator equals to 10, denominator equals to 3, then this 10 and 3, they are the properties of your object. And then when I say this, which means the current object dot denominator, I get number 3. When I say this dot numerator, I get number 10. So you can use this. You don't have to. There are special situations that you have to use this. But again, it's a reference to the current object instantiated within that class. I know if it's still a bit fuzzy, I get it. It's good to have some, to do some reading about it if you want to get more specifics about that. But that is the definition. And again, in this case here, it is optional. You don't have to use it. That's okay, Omar. You can use this. I think it's a good practice because it makes clear sense. It makes, it becomes obvious what you are trying to do there, So again, it's fine. You can use it even if it's optional, okay? Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay, so again, I hope that this makes a little bit more sense. Syed, let me know, but I understand if it's still a bit fuzzy, a bit, not that clear. Anyway, we're gonna have now to implement increase by. So I'm gonna copy the definition here, the signature, and here we have, okay? So what this method, John, again, follow along here, because then if it's not clear, John, and you want to, you see, we're not getting error, and I'm using void there. So maybe you put void in the wrong place there when you tried first time, you know, I mean, again, you can ask me questions if you have any follow-ups on that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so increase by, let's like have a look at the math here. I sent 2 videos, very, very simple to understand videos on how to do fraction addition and fractions subtraction, okay? Hopefully that worked. Hopefully that was beneficial, but here is a little bit about the math that goes on. Sorry for the handwriting. My handwriting is horrible, but here we go. 3 under 2 plus 4 under 3. Actually, let me do this in a slightly simpler way. Let's first try this out with, okay, brush. No, yeah. So 3 under 2 plus 4 under 2. So the same denominator. When we have the same denominator like this, and we calculate the sum, what's going to be the new denominator? What is it?
2.
It's going to still be 2, okay? So you're going to repeat the denominator. And what do we do with the numerators?
Add them.
We add
Just
them.
add them.
We just add them. So here we have 7, okay? So in this case, very simple. Just repeat the denominator and add the numerators. However, if you have something like this, plus, as I mentioned before, 4 under 3. How do I calculate the new denominator?
We need to make like a common denominator.
Yeah, and one of the ways that I can do that, I mean, what is the math here that I go about that, about doing
2
that?
times 3.
Yeah, so I can multiply
Is
those
6.
2, okay? So I can say 2 times 3 equals to 6. Perfect. So we have the denominator. Just multiply the denominators. However, for the numerators, they become a little bit more complicated, because what you have to do is you have to cross multiply. You have to multiply this here and this here. 2 times 4 plus, sorry, the opposite. So 3 times 3 plus 2 times 4. So you cross them and you multiply them across and sum the results. So I'm going to go here. 3 times 3 plus, and then I'm just putting parentheses just to give a clear sense of priorities. 2 times 4. Okay? And this becomes 6 under 9 plus 8, which becomes 17 under 6. Okay? So this is the math that we have to apply to our assignments. Okay? So let's follow along, and we have, in a way, I'm going to say that we have scenario 1, and we have here scenario 2. Okay? So let's do the math there. Increase by. Based on what I explained here, how is this going to look like? Well, it seems that we have already some volunteers there. Yeah, okay, so let's see the code that has been provided. So let's see here. I'm gonna use the code provided by Omar. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then we can have a look. Okay, so a little thing that we have to take care of is capitalization. You see, denominator is capital D. Important as well is the nomenclature. is the uppercase and lowercase, is the casing, okay? I took a few decimal points there if you were using the wrong capitalization, okay? For instance, denominator, because it's a public property, you're going to follow Pascal casing, which means that the first character will be uppercase. However, when we have arguments, or if we have local arguments like these, or local variables, we're going to be using camel casing, which means that the first character of the first name is lowercase, and the first character of all other names will be uppercase, okay? So that's the base difference, is that one starts with lowercase, the other one starts with uppercase, okay? And in this case here, we have all of this as uppercase. So I'm gonna just change that. So capital denominator. So look, what we are doing here is, if the denominator of the current object is the same, is equals to the denominator of the other object that I want to increase by, then we just add, and I'm gonna make this slightly more understandable here. We're just gonna add numerator is equals to numerator itself plus the other numerator, okay? And a way to simplify numerator equals to numerator plus something is to use the plus equals to, okay? So you don't necessarily have to put this in place. Okay, Syed, let's see there. Okay, Syed, in your case, it seems that you have created a method called common denominator, and I'm assuming that it's calculating the common denominator for us. That's fine, as long as the math is fine, as long as the math is correct, it's okay. It's okay to do like that, okay? Again, different ways to find the solution here. And then, well, here we only have one line. I'm going to get rid of this one and this one. So I'm going to leave just like that. And then here, the other option is numerator is equals to numerator times denominator plus other numerator times denominator. So we are cross multiplying them. So with this math, we get the new numerator, and with this one here, we just multiply them, we get the new denominator. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine, Syed. You have created a method to calculate the common denominator. That's fine. That's okay. It works. It's acceptable. Okay. Again, there are different ways to reach the same goal. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So again, if you're not following, tell me. You can tell me via Padlet anonymously, and then I can repeat something that was not well understood. But when you think about increase and decrease, what is basically the difference between increase by and decrease by? What is the difference?
Increase adds and decrease subtracts.
That's it. So we're just going to duplicate this, but change the sign here from plus to minus in two places. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say decrease by. This is a minus because we're going to subtract. And here as well. Okay. Okay, someone is asking a question there. Okay, why are we using if statements? Well, I'm using because if the denominator is the same, I only adds the numerators. However, to be quite honest, you could just do this. This would be fine as well. So regardless if it's the same or different, you can do the same thing. So again, this is okay as well. But I wanted to simplify the case where the denominators were the same. I didn't want to have to multiply them. So I did like this. Is there any other reason for that? Not really. I just wanted to make the one with the same denominator a little bit easier. I just repeat the denominator and add the numerators. I don't do the that's more elaborated math or formula here. But again, without this, it will be just fine. The math would be correct as well. Was that your point? I'm assuming that was it. But again, you tell me. For whoever asked the question on Padlet, okay? Okay, so we have minus, we have plus, we have our class. Our class is done here. Let's review that. So we have the increase by, we have decrease by, and now we need to perform testing. We need to test this, okay? So for testing, we are asked to create 4 rational objects using 0 parameter, 1 parameter, and 2 parameters. Some people got this confused. Some people thought that the numbers of numerator and denominator, they should be 0, they should be 1, and they should be 2. Okay, so some people got this a little bit mixed up. I'm going to show what is it that, and again, it's clear here that I'm talking about arguments, not values. Okay, those are not the values of the arguments, those are the number of the arguments. Okay, so let's create those 4 rationals. Okay, so we're going to go to the program, to the main method. Remember, main method is where the application starts to run from. Whatever inside the main runs right away when you run the code. Okay, so I'm going to say 1 here. I'm going to say rational. I'm going to declare 4 rationals. Rational 0, 1. This is equals to new rational. So look, when I say like this, I'm calling the constructor without any arguments. So in a case like this, what's going to be the value of the numerator?
0.
0. And the value of the denominator will be 1. Okay, so I have the option to call new rational without any arguments. Okay, so that's one. This option here is this one, using 0 arguments. We are not using any arguments there. Okay, now I can also create another one, which I'm going to call rational 2, and I can send to it a number. Let's say 5. 5 will be the value of what? Of the numerator or the
Numerator.
The numerator. Why? Why is not the denominator?
Here's numerator is first.
Because the numerator is first. That's it. That's it. So again, if I just put one argument, it's going to be assumed that this argument was sent to be the numerator. However, let's think about this for a second. What if I want to send only one argument, but I wanted this argument to be set to the denominator instead? How can I do that? I can tell this, it's possible. It's possible. But how can I do this? I want to send 5, but 5 I want it to become not the numerator, but the denominator. How do I do that?
We just put a comma, and after the comma we put the number.
Let's try that. Let's try that. Didn't work quite well. Did it work for you when you tried? Okay,
No.
so again,
No, inside double quotation, I guess. Inside double quotation.
inside double quotation. Like what?
No.
Like
No, just double quotation, nothing in it.
like this?
Yes.
Again, double quotation is a string, and the type there is expecting an integer.
If we write denominator is equal to 5.
Okay, good attempt. So denominator equals to 5. Okay, how about that? Still, it's almost that. Okay, so Shinedu, yes, that's correct. Instead of equals to, it's column. So you can just say denominator, column, the number. That way, you can specify which argument you want to set exactly without depending on the order of the arguments, okay?
Oh.
This item, what we just did, is the answer to, if you go to the exercise, you're going to see at the end here, try to use the named arguments. See, what we are using here is named arguments. We are sending the name of the argument together with the argument, okay? So, but let's say we don't want to use it not yet like this. So I'm going to go 0 parameter, 1 parameter, and now let's do 2 parameters. This will be rational 3. And I'm going to say 7 and 4. And then, because it's asking for 4, look, 4 rational. Some people created 2 rationals, 3 rationals, but they were missing 1, they were missing 2. Again, it's not fully correct because here it's asking for 4 rational numbers, okay? So if it asks for 4 rational numbers, don't create 2, don't create 3, create 4, okay? Create 4 rational numbers. It's gonna show me that you can follow instructions, you know? So we have 3 here, and then I'm gonna put another one, which I'm gonna say 8 and 5. But look, this one here, well, you didn't have to do this. You did not. Try to use named arguments in the last instantiation. We could try to do something like this. Denominator, column, numerator, column. Okay? So there, and by the way, this is rational 4. So here, we are setting 8 to the denominator and 5 to the numerator, even though the parameters that they have a different order. But if you name them, you can do that. Okay?
Which we didn't do it.
No,
I did try to do it, but I didn't be able to.
Yeah, so again, this was optional. It just said here, try to use, try. If you couldn't, that's fine. So if you put this way, it's correct. If you put just this way here, it's correct as well, okay? Either way is correct. It was correct. It was correct for the test, okay, for the assignment, okay? Okay.
So we give values to the all rationals. We assign values.
Yeah, I'm doing that here. I'm giving 5 to this one, 7, 4 to this one, 8 and 5 to this one. And then because we're calling the constructor takes care of sending the argument back to the denominator or back to the numerator. I don't know if that.
Yeah, but we assigned, but I didn't do it that way. Actually, I just put the assign the values every rational object we created. I did not use 0, 1, and 2 and like that. I just put.
Got it. That's okay. And again, just, I mean, you're not going to be missing. What is happening here? What is happening with my Microsoft Word? Let's not save this. Let me open it again. 1 second. Okay. Okay, so if you have not done this, that's fine. That's okay. You're just gonna be taking a few points, but that's okay. Yeah, now you know. Now you know what this means. And by the way, if you go through your assignment and you do something, I mean, you completely ignore this part here and you don't know what this is about, ask. You can ask that, okay? So Syed, let's see. Okay, Syed created 4, but all 4 of them have both numbers. So again, Syed, that's the same thing. You did not give examples using 0, 1, and 2. You just gave examples using 2 on every single one of them. So again,
Yeah.
a few points will be taken there, but not much. Okay. But now you know again what is, because if there's anything here that you don't understand, just ask, and I'll try to clarify. I mentioned what was this about before, but again, sometimes when we mention, it doesn't click in our heads and we miss that. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, as long as we learn and we move on. We move forward. Okay, so number 2 here, the test harness number 2. What are we gonna do here? So look, select 2 pairs of the above objects, print them out, then call increase by and print them again. So we're gonna print them, we're gonna increase and print them again to see what is the difference. So I'm gonna do something like this. Console.writeLine. I'm gonna say rational 1 equals to rational 1 dot toString. We're gonna do the same with rational 2. You didn't have to put this name here, but I'm gonna just say before, just to make it clear, before, and I'm gonna say after. And then we're gonna say rational 1. Look, it's all, what it's asking here. Select 2 pairs of the above objects. So I selected rational 1, rational 2. Then call increase by. Okay, so I'm going to say rational 1 dot increase by. And as an argument, I'm going to send rational 2. So I'm saying that, hey, take rational 1 and add rational 2 to it. Okay? Virat, if increase, has a question, if the increase and decrease methods, logics, are incorrect, the whole testing points will be deducted if passing arguments and calling handled property. Virat, even if the math is incorrect, if you did the test correctly, that will be considered, okay? Because again, those are different aspects to be assessed. If the math is incorrect, and that's okay. I mean, again, you made a mistake there. But if the test was calling things properly, even though the result is wrong, but again, the test, the way you put together the test might be correct, you know? Okay. Awesome. So again, I picked 2, increase by, print before, print after. I'm gonna do the same thing with the decrease by. So I'm gonna just print here. Actually, let's see how this looks like. Let's run this. Okay, so here we have. Oops, I'm missing something there.
Yeah.
Actually, I skipped.
You did not return the string one. The string.
Yeah, we didn't implement that. I missed that one. Sorry about that. I completely missed that one. So
Yeah.
let me go here.
Right string.
Okay, sorry about this. So this was supposed to be after the constructor. So I'm going to put toString here. Override means that, yeah, I know that toString is implemented in the parent object, but I want to redefine how toString behaves for this class. Okay, And I'm going to do something like this. Return. Now, when it says here, it does not take any parameters, but return a string representation of the object itself. You decide on the format of the output. So it's up to me to decide how it's going to look like. That's why I could say something like this.
I just did it like denominator, numerator divided denominator.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to just say something like this. The denominator is, and I'm going to use string interpolation. And here I'm going to pass denominator. And the numerator is, well, actually it would be, I'm gonna do the opposite here. So numerator. Let's do the numerator first because it's the one that stays, at the top, and then numerator is the next one. I'm gonna just invert. Okay, so again, it's up to me to define the format, so I'm gonna define it like this. However, if you did like, I know what was just mentioned, like not this way, but just like this, numerator slash denominator. Is this correct? Is this wrong? This is correct. This is fine. Okay. Now we can run the application again, and we can see the correct output here. Let's try this again. Control F5. Oops. Okay. And there we go. Before 0 and 1, rational 2, 5 and 1. After they sum up, when I add 0 under 1 plus 5 under 1, it becomes 5 under 1. So both of them became the same. Okay. So this is before the increase. This is after the increase. Okay. Now, with that done, let's go back to the program there. I'm gonna just put a dash here to indicate separation here. Just organizing things a little bit better. Now I'm going to copy this whole thing here because I'm going to do this. Instead of rational 1 and 2, I'm going to select rational 3 and 4. And instead of increase by, I'm going to call decrease by. Okay, so I'm going to copy this code just to save us a little bit of time. And I'm going to start to change here. This will be rational 3, rational 3, rational 3, and 3 as well. 3 also here. And then we have 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. Okay, so we are, oh, and of course, the decrease by. Okay, so we have the increase and we have the decrease by. Prof, what if I pass the rational, not rational 2, is that valid? I mean, if you, instead of rational 4, you pass rational 2 again here, or that's fine. I don't know if this is what you are asking, but again, if you have used 2 arguments here that were not the last 2, that's fine. But again, I was expecting for you to have created at least 4 objects here. Okay. Again, I'm not sure if I get your point. I don't know if it was like that. If you want to ask verbally, you can as well. Okay.
Professor.
Yes.
My question is, can I pass the new rational number to the increase method, not the rational 2 or
Oh, you mean you declare like this? New?
Yeah, new rational, and I pass. Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I read the requirement,
yeah,
I was really confused. Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, look, select 2 pairs of the above objects. So above, where is this above? We have 4 here. select 2 of the above and do this. Select another 2, we have 4. Select 2 and call, select 2 and call. So I will consider that. I mean, again, if by any chance you get penalized, it will be very little because it's not a big deal, okay? It was more of an I mean, again, it's not a major deal. It's not a deal breaker. So again, even if there is a little penalty, but again, it's not be a big deal. It won't be a major influence in your final grade. I can tell you this, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so with this, we have increase and we have decrease here. I'm gonna run this again. And there we have before and after for the increase, before and after for the decrease. Look, the rational that we call the method from, it gets changed. It used to be 704 and now it's 320 because we did a subtraction here, okay? Okay, so someone posted a bunch of code there. Let's see. Okay, increase by. Okay, Said, I'm assuming that you are asking if this is correct or not. I'll assume so. So let me see here. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. It's good. You have the decrease, you have the increase, you are printing before, you're printing afterwards. That's fine. That's okay. Again, you have a little mistake here, which is you are not testing, you are not, let me go there. You didn't do this one here, okay? But again, when you call increase by and decrease by, this is all good. This is all good, okay? What you put it there. I didn't check Padlet for a bit. Let me have a look there. Is it necessary to call toString in the main? I got the same results without calling it. That's fine. So here in the main, if I don't put toString is the default method. So if I just put it like this, it will be fine. Okay, it's okay. Because behind the scenes, when you call it like this, it's actually calling toString behind the scenes. Okay, I just put it explicitly here because it becomes more obvious what am I talking about, okay? Okie dokie. Any more questions about the assignments for the students that were having problems? Did this help? Was this useful? Did this clarify things for you? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, so let's do this. It's 5:30. Let's have a 5 minutes break. We come back and we keep moving forward, okay? So come back in 5 minutes. Don't get late. I'll see you in 5.
Before we go to the break, I have one quick question.
As long as it's quick, because otherwise we talk about that when you come back. But go ahead.
The question is like we created a constructor, right? So
yes,
we did created a constructor over there. But why we created a constructor? Why we did not create a meter there here?
Why we did not create a method here, you mean?
Yeah. Why we create a constructor?
Because here's the thing, with coding, there are many different ways to solve the same problem, the same issue, the same scenario. Okay, so again, could we have done with a method? We could, but then you would have to call the constructor and then call the method as well. So instead of having 4 lines of codes, you'd have 8 lines because you would still have to create the rational, and then you would call this other method that you have created. So again, you would be multiplying, you would be doubling the number of lines of codes for you to do the same thing.
I mean, like, if there is any difference between meter and meters in constructor, if there is, so what?
Between methods and constructors? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. Constructor, you only call it once in the life of the object, okay? Methods, you can call as many times as you want, okay? Now, constructor, it's a way that you can say, okay, these are my initial values. Okay, this is what it's the object is starting with. Now, if other methods later in the scope of the codes are making modifications to it, that's fine. But again, here I'm constructing the object for the first time. I'm building it for the first time. So I may have the need to say, okay, whenever I create an object, I need to set the numerator and the denominator of that object. Again, in coding, there are many different ways to do the same thing, but there are best practices as well. So a best practice for the use of constructor is that you can set the initial values of your properties there. That's what I would define, mention to you. Okay.
Thank you.
And again, constructor is a way for the codes to allocate memory for that object. A method doesn't do that. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
No problem, no problem. So let's go for 5 minutes. We'll come back. We move forward. Be back in 5. Okay, everyone. So let's move forward here. Again, hopefully this was useful to clarify certain things about the assignment. And I'm going to close this one. Actually, let's just close the solution. I hope that you can hear me well. So let's close solution here. And now, what I would like to do, I would like to have a look at, remember, we have, let's say this week, which is week number 4, we are practicing, we are demonstrating what you have seen during week 3. So again, I'm hoping that you had a chance to review week 3 already. And if so, great. If not, well, you're gonna get that done today. So let's have a look at week 3 here. We have a series of lab assignments. A quick note about those lab assignments. First of all, they're not graded, but second is, because of a restructure that happened in this course, there are some exercises that they talk about, create a JSON file, read from a JSON file, save to a file, read from a file. Ignore any exercise here that has a mention to read the file, save to a file. Ignore that part, because dealing with files will come in this course, but a little bit later in the course, okay? So not right now. So again, if the exercise was talking about a file that you need to save or that you need to read from, like those files here, text files here, don't worry about that. Don't do that part yet, okay? It's gonna be handled a little bit later in the course. But from those exercises, I'm gonna pick one. Let me have a look here at this astronaut class to see what this is about. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
Just a quick question. Are we going to have midterms?
If you're gonna have midterm,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna have, and that will be done on either, yeah, I think it's under week 7. Okay, so I will make sure we're gonna do some reminders before we finish the day, but I will come with details about that either next week or the week after that. Okay, so again, don't worry, I'll keep you posted about that. But yes, we're gonna have a midterm and we're gonna have our final. Okay, next week we're gonna be organizing ourselves to get 2 groups to get done assignments 2. So yeah, midterm will come, but it will still be in a few weeks from now. Okay, and I'll keep again, I will let you know. Remember that the midterm is it's always a hands-on. It's you don't have to, it's not answering questions. It's really like this a little coding exercise that you're gonna apply what you have learned before. Okay, so does that make sense, Jen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so from this group of exercises, I think that the best one for us to work with, because it's going to expose us to enums as well, is this medal, the medal color enum. I think this is the best one for us to work with, so I'm going to focus on that one. Okay, then anyone, Virat, is it MCQ or coding test? Okay, Virat, the test midterm is a coding test, but provided to you in the format of an open question. So you're gonna have a scenario that you're gonna solve the code. You're gonna code it, paste inside the Centennial, and move to the next question. So it's gonna be about 4 to 5 exercises, little exercises, coding exercises that you're going to put together, and it's going to be done via an open-ended question format. So again, you're going to have little situations that you're going to code that little piece covering different aspects of the content that we have covered in the first half of the course. Okay. Okie dokie, Virat. Okay, so enums. Okay. If you have gone through some of the contents of week 3, and by some of the content, I mean the extra content, you should have seen an example of enums there. Can anyone tell me what is that example of enums there? That actually it's an activity in the extra parts. Anyone remembers or gone through this? It's I would say an unusual enum related to money. Okay, anyone saw that on week 3? Just have a look here at the chat. Okay, so again, everyone, I'm telling you this, make sure that you go through your contents, because this course is driven by you. You are the one driving the driver's seat, okay? So when we come to our meetings, it's assumed that you have gone through the content of that week, okay? And again, I'm not talking about this week. I'm not talking about week 4. I'm talking about week 3, okay? Anyway, so let's have a look at enums here. Enums. Yeah, John, there was an enums for days there, but there also an activity there with enums related to money, related to currency and money, but that's fine. That's okay. So we have so this exercise is going to talk about enums, properties, and lists as well. Okay, it's going to talk about all of those 3 things. So let's start with the enum. So here's what we have. Okay, so that's the medal. Okay. So it starts by giving us an enum to implement. So we have an enumeration and enum with 3 values. Okay, so let's do this in our Visual Studio. I'm going to say File, New Project. From here, it doesn't just ask me to create any particular name, to give it any particular name. So I'm going to call it Medal App. I'm going to say Medal App. Okay. Then in our Medal App, we have to implement this enum, the color enum, the medal color enum, and this class as well. So remember, I'm recommending that you keep classes in a separate file. But because we have a very small enum, and this enum is really very, I would say, related to the class medal, because class medal has a property called color, we can put this enum inside the same file as the medal class, okay? Because again, it's very small. If you put it in a separate file, that's fine as well. But because it's so small, I'm going to put in the same file as the medal class. So I'm going to add a file called medal. So I'm going to right click the project, go to add class. And then here, I'm going to put medal. That's the name. Now we have our medal class here, but we're going to start with the enum. So this enum, I'm going to create it right here at the top. Again, you could create at the top, you could create at the bottom here, that's fine. But because it's so small, I'm going to keep it very high up in the code. Okay, so I'm going to say enum medal color. And this enum has 3 values: bronze, silver, and gold. So there we go. bronze, silver, and gold. Okay. Enums, it's like they behave like constants. Okay. So if we just leave it like this, what is the value associated with bronze, with silver, and with gold? What is the number associated with each one of them?
You can put 1, 2, 3.
Okay. I can put 1, 2, 3, but without putting. Right now, the way it is right now, the way you are seeing it in your screen, what are their values?
0, 1, 2.
0, 1, and 2. That's it. Okay, so if you move the mouse over, look, 0, 1, and 2. However, I can say, you know what? I want the first one to be 1. So I can say 1. If you give a value to the first one, the other ones will follow along. You see 2 and 3. Okay? So again, if you don't provide, it becomes 0, 1, 2. If you provide a value, it becomes that value, value plus 1, value plus 2. Okay? Any num is like you are creating your own type. Now I have a type called metal color, which can assume, and I'm going to keep it like this. Metal color can assume 3 potential values. It can be bronze, silver, or gold. Let me ask you this. What other primitive type also has just a few number of options, of potential values? Which one? Abhishek. Yeah. Boolean. Love that. You're right. A Boolean can only be what? 2 values. True or false. Okay? So again, metal color or any enum that you create, they are very similar to how Booleans operate. Okay? Boolean has only 2 values. If I say that status is a Boolean, it's going to be either true or false. If I say that status or status color is of type metal color, it's going to have only one of 3 potential values: bronze, silver, and gold. Okay? So when you define an enum, what you are doing is you are giving a friendly name to a number. In this case here, 0 is bronze, silver 1, gold 2. Let me ask you a question. In your codes, what's going to be more clear? If you assign something like a color gold or a color number 2, well, when someone looks at the code and see color equals to number 2, what is number 2? Number 2 is not clear what that means. Now, if I see color equals to gold, oh, I know that this is a gold color. It becomes self-explanatory. Okay? And again, enums, they are very similar to constants. In a way, they are a set of related constants. Okay, what is a constant? A constant is a type that does not change and represents a value with a friendly name. Here we have a friendly name as well: bronze, silver, and gold. Okay, so we're gonna use this, our new type, as the type of one of the properties of metal. Let's have a look at metal class. Actually, you know what? Before we go to our metal class, let me close this one here. Let me find the exercise here. 1 second. Oh, sorry. Open this again. Great. Okay, so here we have the metal class. Again, before we go through the metal class, I will take attendance here. When and if you hear your name, just say hi in the chat for me. what section are we from? What is our section again? Anyone there?
002.
Section 002. Okay, so just a quick reminder, at times this will be useful for us. So 002. Okay, so here we go. So Abi, Alex, I think I saw you, Alex, already, and Alireza, I saw you as well. So Abi, yep. Oh, okay, Abhishek, okay. Alan Cho, Burhan, and Shinadu. Shinadu, I saw you. Alan Cho and Burhan. Okay. Tutran, okay, Chu, you're there. Disha, Abu Bakir, and Halim. Disha, Abu Bakir, and Halim. Harlan, Hassan, I think I saw you before, and Honju. Hassan is there. Okay, so Halin, Harlan, and Honju. Hojun.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, was yes.
Alan.
Alan, okay, Alan.
Yes.
Because I cannot see who's talking. Okay, so that's why I said, I ask if you decide to say by voice, you just say your name there. Okay, so Honju, okay, Hussein, Jean Kumar, and Jessica.
Jan Kumar.
Jean Kumar, thank you. Oh, Jan Patel. Jan. Okay, awesome. Hussein is there as well, yes. And Jessica, I don't see you. Jin Zen, Jocelyn, and Julian. Jocelyn, I think I saw your name before. Okay. Jin Zen, Julian, and Konul. Kyong Bin, Malik, and Marcos. Mudiaga, Omar, I saw you before. Malik is there. Okay. Piravin, Ragavi. Piravin, I saw you. Sayed, you're there. Mudiaga, okay. Okay. Sharia Ben Patel. Sharia bin Patel. Sharia Patel, okay. Steven, you're there. Igor, you're there, I think. Virat, you're there. Xavier, Jonas, and Yuxiang C. Xavier is there. Okay. Jonas and Yuxiang C. Okay, that's it. If I did not call your name, let me know, but I think I called everyone. Okay. So let's go here through our medal class to implement that one. So we have a bunch of properties, 5 properties here. Look what it says. Property setter is absent. So it means that there's no set for those properties. What does it mean? How do we call a property that has no set? How do we call it? What is the name that we give to a property that does not have a setter accessor? It only has a getter. It's a
Read-only.
Reading.
Read-only, yes, that's it. It's a read-only, okay? So we have 5 properties here to provide, and they are all read-only. So let's have a look at that. So here we have public string name. We have a getter, but we don't have a setter. The same thing with the events. I'm gonna repeat this. And this is called, this property called the event. We have color. Look, color is a property of type metal color, of type of the enum that we just created. Okay, so I'm gonna say public metal color, and it just has a get. We have year and is records. So year, public int year. We have a get and public boolean is record, also with a getter, no setter. Okay, good. So we have all properties here. What else we have here? Yes.
So how we can know that the property does have a get and does not have set?
Because we didn't write a set here. If it had a set, I would have written here.
No, I know, like you would have written. How you know that you should have a get and not have?
Because it's asking here, property setter is absent. It's telling you to implement like that. It's giving you that information. Now, what do you do with that information? Why? I mean, it's a valid question. Why did we create? Why did you create a property that is read-only? Well, because we can set the property inside the constructor. So again, when you come across a situation, it's gonna tell you if we have a class diagram, like a UML diagram, it's gonna tell you if you need to implement the set or not. It's gonna give you that information. Okay.
Okay, that will give that information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you get a very abstract definition, then without any specific direction, then it's up to you to make it have a setter or not. It's your decision. To be quite honest, is there a right or wrong decision? Not that much, not at all, actually. You know, if I put setters in all of those, nothing will become wrong in the codes. It's just a choice that you have. It's a choice as you have many other choices when you are doing coding. Okay. I would say one of my goals here is to explore different scenarios with you so that you can say, oh, maybe in a situation like this, and I'm going to show in a second, maybe in a situation like this, I don't have to use a setter. Okay. And I'll show you next here. Okay, there's a question there on Padlet. Let me open that up. The question is, what's the difference between putting no setter versus private setter? Very good question. So we have no setter here. And let's say that we put this, private sets. What is the difference? Who can tell me what is the difference between those two?
There's like the setter is on the first one, there is no setter. We don't have a setter. But in the second one, we have a private setter that we can use it in the same middle class.
That's correct.
We can call it everywhere, like in the same middle class. But if there is no setter, so it's mean there is no setter. That's it.
Yeah. So
that's read only.
That's very good explanation. I'm going to just expand on that. So name has no setter here. It means that the only place that I can set the value of name is inside the class constructor. Okay. However, with this one, the event private sets, I can set the event name anywhere inside the class, but not outside the class because it's private. So again, the event has a setter. I can set it not only in the constructor, but anywhere I want, in any other method. However, if I don't have a setter, the only place that I can set this property is inside the constructor. So I would say that no setter at all is way more restrictive than having a private set. because no set at all will only allow you to set inside the constructor of the class. With a private set, you can set the value anywhere inside this class, not just inside the constructor. That's the difference. And we can have we can visit that again once we are implementing our constructor. Okay. Abhishek, I don't know if this makes sense, but that's the explanation. Okay. Okay, so here we have a constructor, medal. We have parameters for each one of the properties. So let's do this. So I'm going to say public medal, and then we have a bunch of parameters here. We're going to have one parameter for each property. I'm going to say string name, but because it's an argument, I'm going to use lowercase n, comma, string the event, again, lowercase for the first letter, color, lowercase. Then we have year, which is an int, year. And then we have a Boolean called is records. Now inside here, I'll just set the property to the arguments equals to name, and then the event equals to the event. Again, I'm just setting those arguments to the appropriate property. That's what it asks here. Look, the public constructor takes 5 arguments, and it assigns the arguments to the appropriate fields. Okay, I would actually call this to the appropriate properties. Okay, so I have medal, I have color here. If I can type, color equals to color. And then year equals to year. And last one is records equals to is records. Okay, so look, even though they don't have sets, but inside the constructor, and this is the constructor, we can still assign values to the properties inside the constructor, even though they don't have sets. Okay. However, again, because they have no sets, this is the only place that I can set the values of those properties. Okay. Okay, and the last member of this class is the toString, which I'm going to use override because we are overriding the default behavior of the toString that gets implemented from object, that gets inherited from object. So I'm going to say public override, and this guy here will return similar to what we did in the test, in the assignment, and with the pet exercise, it's going to return a string definition, a string with details of the properties. I'm going to use this as a reference point. I'm going to copy this, put it there. Of course, we have to make this dynamic, so we have to do some replacements here. I'm going to use a string interpolation so that I can say this becomes the year. I'm going to call the property year. I'm going to call this the property here. This is the event. I'm going to leave R for now. R means that it's a record. Let's fix that in a second. But I'm going to say that this is the name of the athlete, and this is the medal. This is the color of the medal. When I'm inside of string and I try to use the value of the enum, this returns the name bronze, silver, and gold, depending on which value is assigned to the color property. Okay. So that's our toString. Let's put this in practice. Let's try to run the code here. Let's have a look at our test harness. I'm going to copy these lines here with one object created. So let's give this a try. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go to program inside the main, and I'm going to paste there. So we have created the object. Sorry, we declared, we create, and we are passing a bunch of values here. The name, the event, the color, the year, and whether or not it is a record. Let's say that this is false. Just for the sake of example, I'm going to run this. Look, it's printing out well, but it's bringing the R there because we have not done any coding about this R. Even though we put it a false here, which is not a record, we should handle this little guy here, this R. But we have the year, the event, the name, and the color of the medal. Okay, so let's take care of this one here. Let's go back there. So how can I take care of this? What should I do inside of this element, of this expression, to return an R or not? What should I do here?
Terminal operator.
We can use a ternary operator, yes. So I'm going to open parentheses here so that we can keep the ternary operator inside. And then I'm going to say is records. If it is, return a string with the R. However, oh, sorry. This is the question mark. So if it is, return R. If not, return an empty string. Don't return anything. Just give me an empty string, okay? Now, if I run this now, so we don't see R over there. But if I try again, and this time around, I put a true here, and I run it again. Now we have the R as the records, okay? Any questions from anyone so far?
It's good, sir.
Good. Okay. So I'm gonna, just to make sure that I have a chance to talk about some reminders, I'm gonna pause this for a second. By the way, the code for this exercise is already provided here. If you go to Centennial, and if you go to lab assignments, the code is right here, medal app solution. So you can download this and you can see how it finishes. But before that, Shinadu, where did we use enum? We use enum right here. We use enum in the declaration. We declare a property of type enum, and we have set the property value right here. Look, when we create the medal, we are setting the property. We are setting the value here. Okay. Okay, so let me jump to a few reminders here. If we have a look at Centennial, you're going to see that quiz number 2 is open. And the quiz will be open until next Friday. So you have one more week to get this quiz done. The content of the quiz is about UML, is about private and public modifiers, and it's about classes, class properties, and class fields. So these are the topics of the quiz, quiz 2. Okay? The same way as you have done before, we have one chance. You have about 4, 5, 6 questions. Move forward only, and you have until next Friday to get it done. Okay? That's the first one. Second one, bonus number 4. Bonus number 4 is out, and you have until Sunday to deliver, this Sunday, in 2 days. Okay, bonus number 4. As I mentioned before, assignment number 1 is under review, and by Tuesday, Wednesday, you should have your grades back to you, okay? But overall, in general, people are doing fine there. One more thing here, I want to quickly mention, if you reach out to me via Microsoft Teams, make sure that you press the keyboard, the key but at Ederson, so that even if I'm not there right away, right there on Microsoft Teams, I get a notification via email that someone posted something there. I'm saying that because I realize that some people, I missed some of the questions that have been posted there because I didn't know that they were there. So again, at me. When you add someone, the person will receive an email notifying them that there's something there for them to look at, okay? So please use that if you need to reach out to me. Any questions about the reminders? Anything there that you may need to ask? Okay, so let's see if we can just to take 3 more minutes here to do a few more things in this exercise. So the next block here, we are creating a second medal. So I'm going to go back there to the codes. Let's create a second medal here. We just paste, and here we create the first one, we print the name, we print the one completely, we print the second one. If I run this, look what we have, the first and the second one, okay? Now, it's asking you to use a list of medals here. So let's use that one. So this line, it declares a list of medals, and it creates the list of medals, and it populates the first 2 elements of that list with M1 and M2 by using the syntax here with the curly braces, okay? So this creates the list, declares the list, creates the list, and initialize the list with 2 items. And then the exercise has a few more medals being created. Okay, so this approach here, it does use a variable. It creates right away the medal. As I think it was you that you did something like this similar. You did not use a variable there. So again, you can do this, you know. I'm using variables here, but here I'm creating the medal right away, actually right before adding to the medals list. Okay, so I'm doing that for each one of them. And in the end here, we have 2 plus 14. We have a total of 16 medals here. And then the last part, which I will not be able to demonstrate, but the code is there. It's about looping through the medals and printing their information. And then print the information for only the names of the athletes, or only filtering the gold medals, filtering the medals that were won in 2012, filtering gold medals and won in 2012, filtering only the medals with the world record. Okay, so the solution for those filterings, they can all be found here on, if you go to content, again, lab 3, week 3 lab assignments, and then the solution is right here. This is a zip file. Okay, everyone, any questions? Remember, office hours on Thursdays between 10 a.m. 12 p.m. Alireza, if you have any need there, to reach out to me and meet outside of that. again, reach out. We can book something if there's a need for us to do a voice or face-to-face, okay?
Professor,
Yes.
quick question about the postcard. Have you considered adding a new transcript feature?
So, about the
Transcript
transcript for which one?
for the postcard.
You mean podcast, for the podcast?
Yeah, because as you know, English is not my
Got it.
my
Okay,
first language.
so here's what I've been trying to do, but I have not been very consistent with that. So again, I'll see if I can do that for the last episodes. I'm creating a video version and I upload that to YouTube, so YouTube can automatically do the captioning. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. It's better than not having. Okay. So if you want to send me a note, send me an email so I remind myself of setting that up for the last episode. Okay.
Okay, so
Awesome. Everyone, thanks so much for being here. I need to drop this quickly because I have to jump in my next meeting, but it was awesome to have you all here. Have a good evening, good long weekend. Enjoy the long weekends. I'll see you in a week. Have a good one. Reach out if you need anything. Please reach out. I'm always available, okay? Have a good one.
Bye, sir. See you.
Bye-bye, John. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.